get uploaded?
I don't know about you, but I'm having basically kind of the roughest week ever. We killed the dual socket board. Anthony, yeah, you killed the dual socket board. It's Alex. Alex killed the dual socket board. Anthony got pulled out of the office on a particularly busy week for an event that ended up being a complete and utter waste of time. Thank you, Intel. I just, you know, it's funny. To the average viewer out there seems to be this perception that when a company, like, invites you to a product event, that it's like free travel. You just got free travel and hotel. You guys sold out so hard. Like, there's this perception. But what they don't seem to realize is that it costs me money to have myself or someone else out of the office. Not just money, but time. Time that I might have spent with my family. Spent clipping one of my toenails that's a little long right now and is kind of catching on the inside of my sock and is a little uncomfortable. You know, the things that we might have wanted to, that I might have wanted to do. And in this case, like, I would actually prefer, not just in this case, but in most cases, I would strongly prefer having a company get on the phone with me so I don't have to sit in an airport for 3 hours, sit on a plane for anywhere from, 2 to 5 hours, sit in an airport for another half an hour waiting for my baggage, and then do the whole thing all over again. I would strongly prefer if they just got on a phone, gave me a PowerPoint presentation where I can understand the product, and just sent one over so that we can test it in the comfort of our lab with all of our equipment and all of our staff that we can bounce ideas off of, all of that good stuff. And
you haven't even mentioned the opportunity cost of Anthony not being here, Anthony being in an airport instead of being at his desk, being productive.
Exactly. So
the audio issues persist. Is that why you're laughing / dying? If you think the audio is bad, read my lips.
Apparently it's very quiet.
Because that's all you're getting.
But we are getting all the way into the yellow territory. So I don't know what to tell you. I can't turn it up because it's gonna clip. I can't do anything. We're just gonna have to live with it.
This is your problem, man. Turn it up. And when the ad comes on and blasts you, and you get a noise complaint and a strata bill / condo fee bill.
All right. So anyway, it has just been a rough week having people out. Ivan's sick this week. Alex is going to be out next week. So one of the videos that he was supposed to get done this week, but he was busy breaking a motherboard, didn't get done this week. So it means we have to do more next week. Next week, I'm going to be out of the office 2 days. Actually, we've got some really cool videos that we're going to be shooting next week.
I love it when you're out of the office.
Okay, well, on one of the days, I am actually going to be in the building. I'm just going to be really busy. So I don't know if you guys remember the murder box. Yeah, it's sort of an unfortunately named, like, boutique system integrator that existed around 8-9 years ago. Anyway, Charles, the guy who was running it, eventually decided to do just a case, the MDPC X. Xforma, okay, I can't remember what it's called. It's freaking awesome, though. It looks incredible. So he's got a full system built up in it, including metal hardline tubing with, like, these gorgeous bends and stuff. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to have him come into the studio and do, like, a teardown of it. So it's going to be kind of like disassembling a supercar on camera.
It's going to be badass.
But like
that
a
thing,
supercomputer. But not a supercomputer because that's a specific thing and it isn't that.
When I first saw that system, I was like, I didn't even know such things were possible. Like in Gladiator, when he sees the Colosseum, I didn't know men could build such things. They weren't PC in Gladiator times.
Okay. So let's jump into our first topic of the day. This one is, we talked about it a fair bit last week. Apparently my explanation of it was very confusing because a lot of the comments on the WAN show last week were just saying that people were having a really hard time understanding what the crap it was that I was talking about exactly. But the GeForce Partner Program, NVIDIA is claiming that this is all about reducing confusion for the consumer, but according to an article written by, according to an article written by HardOCP, it appears to be a means for NVIDIA using its stranglehold over the supply of the GPU chips that its partners need to survive, using that to basically force them to favor NVIDIA products over AMD products in their marketing, specifically in their marketing that talks directly about gaming. So our source here is, this was originally posted by Cladson on the forum, and the original article is from Reddit. Seems to suggest, although this is of course in r/AMD, so take it for what it is, but seems to suggest that the first victim of the GeForce Partner Program may have already been unveiled. So Gigabyte just introduced a new AMD-oriented external GPU box, and the branding is different from their other external GPU box. So we've actually got one of the GTX 1080 based ones, and it uses the Aorus branding, while these new AMD based ones, wow, this is like a, how deep do I have to go in these links to find the actual, where is the,
There you go. If the branding isn't just different, it's just way more basic.
yeah, so
Like,
Aorus
so worse.
and just RX 580. With that said, it does have gaming in the title, which hopefully is an indication that, contrary to the rumor, partners will at least be able to use like game or gaming in the branding for their AMD products.
It's a descriptive word. Isn't it MSI that gaming is actually their line of gaming?
Yeah.
So they won't be able to do that.
Well,
Or they'll have to take a little TM off the top of it.
Yeah, so the rumor was, though, that NVIDIA would be forcing their partners to actually rename product lines that had gaming in them for products that were not GeForce. So
It's still a work in progress, though, because if you look at some of the Amazon links to these products that have been otherwise debranded in physical form, the Amazon titles still have those monikers in there. And like, I'm assuming they're going to be taken away eventually. So maybe it's like a rollout here that we're witnessing.
yeah, so it looks like there's some things that still haven't been updated. So some Amazon product names apparently have been updated. Now, not for insignias like ROG Strix and MSI Gaming, but for the actual product names themselves, some have been updated and some of them haven't. Do you have any examples of that?
If you go to the forum thread, there's a bunch of examples now, not
Cool.
just the Aorus one.
All right, let's go ahead and pull that up here. So update number 2, yes, MSI seems to have removed all their gaming from AMD graphics cards. Only NVIDIA ones have the gaming branding on them now. Let's see if we can find, yeah, this thread is like really going. Here we go, check this out. No, so this is an example of one that has not been changed yet. So Asus ROG Strix Radeon RX 560. Now with that said, one of the things that I would have to wonder is that given the complicated nature of updating the name of a product that's out there in the wild already, is it possible we're not seeing the full effect yet? Is it possible that NVIDIA would be waiting for like the next rollout of products, like
probably.
like a 600 series graphics card?
How
from
could you
AMD?
possibly retroactively, like, hey, Best Buy, hey, Walmart, update your product names on your websites?
I mean, you could ask for it, but I mean,
But there's so many channels.
yeah, there's the websites, there's the little like tag on the actual shelf, there's flyers that they would be working out on, there's all kinds of promotional materials that would be very difficult to change.
And
so,
there's multiple marketplaces. Like, Amazon isn't even in Australia. Presumably Australia has some other e-tailer that's big that they'd have to communicate with.
Is PC case geared? Amazon PC online retailer. I'm trying to remember who the big ones are down there. Wait, why did I search for Amazon? Australia. It has just been,
Australia's
it has
on.
been such a week, man. Like, such a week. ScorpTech is one of them. That's one of our mods on the forum used to work at ScorpTech, but doesn't anymore. So that's really all I know about them.
Did he used to be Australian and isn't anymore?
No, still Australian. Oh, still super Australian.
That can happen.
All right. This was originally posted on the forum
Wait, I have one question.
Yes.
I saw some fear. You talked about the supply that NVIDIA has on the market being a bit of a stranglehold. Do you think that applies to people like us, influencers and media, who don't want to speak out or disparage this move by NVIDIA because they're afraid that they're not going to be sourced the GPUs that they rely on to make reviews and editorial content?
Okay, so that is a good question. Here's the thing. NVIDIA has to, if they're trying to create a competitive advantage for themselves, they have to do so without creating a bunch of negative sentiment amongst the consumer base, sort of. I'm not actually convinced. Like, NVIDIA, I would describe as sort of, not the individuals that I know there. Everyone that I know that works at NVIDIA, I really like on a personal level, but to describe them corporately, I would say they are a little bit arrogant. But I'm not necessarily saying that they haven't earned it in a sense. Like,
Comes with the market share?
yeah, it comes with having what I think it's like 75% market share or something like that in discrete graphics, and that's in terms of unit sales, not in terms of dollars. Which, given that they have much higher end products than AMD has at this time, are pretty significantly different. So I'm not saying that they haven't kind of earned it.
But we are the stewards of that sentiment.
Right. So here's the thing. NVIDIA doesn't really have to care about the sentiment now, because at the end of the day, what else are you going to buy? You know, you can't find stock of anything, so people are basically buying whatever they can get, for one thing. And for two, NVIDIA is in a position where in certain segments, they really are the only product that makes any sense, especially at the high end. So, but with that said, NVIDIA still seems to somewhat care about their public image, because you never know when AMD might turn around and release something that turns the market on its head. And if people had like this pent-up negative sentiment towards NVIDIA, it could backfire on them then.
When you say at the high end, what are you talking about? Are you talking about HEDT?
Yeah, I'm talking about, well, that's
'Cause if you're talking about, like,
only Intel uses that terminology.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
If you're talking about server stuff, then does this really apply? Because isn't this about consumer grade?
Yeah.
Gaming?
No, I'm talking about high-end consumer. I mean, AMD doesn't have anything competitive with the 1080 Ti. Not even close.
Got 'em. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, as for Vega 56 and Vega 64, I mean, even before the mining craze, they weren't that competitive. Like, they were okay. Vega 64 wasn't. Vega 56 was. But you haven't been able to buy a Vega 56. Like, what? Where are you supposed to get a Vega 56?
And you really think that when they were deciding whether or not to make this move and how to spin it and whether or not it would give them bad press, they thought, you know what, right now, nobody can buy anything because of crypto. They really considered the crypto mania and the availability of GPUs, and they were we can probably get away with this.
I think so. So I think that the timing is a big part of it. And then I think the other thing is, like, why not try to get the press to buckle? Well, it's because they have far less of an impact on our livelihood than they do on their partners who rely on them for chips. Like, if, I would be more worried about YouTube than I would about NVIDIA. If YouTube were the kind of company where I didn't feel like, they could accept criticism. As it is, I can tell our YouTube rep stuff that I hate about the platform to his face, and his job anyway is to take that feedback and actually try and make it actionable and try and improve things. Believe it or not, YouTube does actually care.
We're his client.
Yeah, we're his client, but he's also our. That's actually an interesting way of looking at it. So we're his client, but we're his client in a way where NVIDIA's clients are not as much, because NVIDIA could just find someone else. Whereas once you reach a certain point as a creator, in much the same way that YouTube doesn't really focus much attention on the small creators that are replaceable, they do focus attention on the big ones that are difficult to replace. Well, I think from NVIDIA's perspective, pretty much everyone can be replaced at this point. Like, they've literally done it. XFX used to be a major NVIDIA partner, especially in North America back in the day. It was like 1-2, EVGA, XFX. Now, ever since XFX defected to AMD back in, I think it was the 4000 series days? Don't quote me on that. Might have been 3000 series. Anyway, back then, ever since then, NVIDIA basically went, well, okay. You know, where if you're going to defect, if you're going to go from being exclusive NVIDIA, remember, this was at a time when NVIDIA was in pretty rough shape with some hot running cards that didn't perform that well. If you guys are going to turn tail and run into the arms of AMD, good luck with that. We'll just find someone else to replace you. And they did. When BFG disappeared, so BFG was another sort of top-tier partner for NVIDIA in North America. One of their big things was that they offered a lifetime warranty. When when BFG disappeared, NVIDIA didn't, they didn't run out and try and find, try and like quietly fund through, venture capital, someone to take over the brand and continue it. They just kind of went, them's the breaks. And if you think about it, that has been the strategy with board partners since the dawn of time. Like, I could probably name half a dozen board partners off the top of my head who existed at one point, at least in North America, and don't anymore. Let's try. Well, there's BFG, so I already got that one. There is Chain Tech. There's another one. There is, let me think, Gainward. There's another one. Gainward used to be like kind of like Halo tier products. A-Bit, I think, dabbled in GPUs at one point. They're gone entirely now from the motherboard business too. Dang, is that all I got?
That's pretty good.
Shoot, I think that's all I've got. I mean, and then there's the really old stuff, like back when like 3D Labs, I think, used to do graphics cards, but I don't think they ever did NVIDIA ones. 3D Labs, Creative. Did Creative do them? Before ATI acquired FireGL, Diamond. Oh yeah, Diamond Multimedia. Sorry, that's the one that I was thinking, not 3D Labs. Diamond, okay, whatever, that's five. And I did have to Google one of them, so it's kind of cheating, but that's not really the point. The point is, I think NVIDIA is in a position where they feel like they need their partners a lot less than someone like YouTube apparently does with us. So let's see how this continues to play out.
So they still have that power, and they don't really care. It doesn't matter. The sentiment is a drop in the bucket compared to the power of their market position, so it doesn't matter. Yeah,
but I think that they wouldn't also risk going to press directly with some kind of an agreement that you can only mention gaming with NVIDIA products and then a gag order if you talk about it. Because if they ever showed something like that to anyone in the press, it would be out there.
Yeah, let's remember that it was AMD who originally kind of leaked this or let it be known.
Because the press has so much less to lose with NVIDIA. Like, worst case scenario, I've got to buy a half a dozen graphics cards a year. I mean, at the rate that we're going lately, with them releasing like 2-3 graphics cards every year, like, it's not even that bad. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll go buy a video card.
Yeah, but on the flip side,
I used to buy video cards.
But the price of those video cards.
Okay, that's true. And Linus Media Group's bankrupt. Had to buy 3 graphics cards.
Colton's not fired. He's laid off.
Yeah.
Budget cuts, man.
All right. Why don't we jump into one of our quick ones here?
I want to talk about this one.
You want to talk about the first? The self.
I've been following this since it broke.
All right, hold on. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, we got to talk about our sponsors for the day. Where's all our sponsor stuff? Is this it?
I think they might be behind us.
You're a vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the only one eating Savage Jerky today?
Yeah.
That's a real shame because it's pretty delicious.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump right into the Savage Jerky spot just because I'm actually not as hungry as I normally am on the WAN show because I was eating.
Because you spent half of the WAN show eating in people's ears in 7.1.
Oh, they sent so many packs of maple buffalo bacon. This is like the highlight of my week. Oh yeah, they have other flavors as well, including some super spicy ones. And that's good. Let's get through the talking points. So I'm drooling
You're
already.
Salivating? You're Pavloving over
not
here?
drooling. Sorry, salivating. Savage Jerky's jerky is made With high-quality ingredients, without nitrates or preservatives, the goal was to create a snack that's full of flavor and not bad for you. They've got 13 different flavors of jerky, including maple buffalo bacon. The mojo is really good. The traditional is really good. What are some of the other really good ones? Hold on. The cracked pepper and sea salt is really good. And then they've also got super spicy ones, like the ghost pepper one, the reaper one.
I'm also salivating, for the record.
They also make barbecue sauce, hot sauce, and a spice rub. Their Carolina Reaper hot sauce uses one of the hottest peppers in the world.
I can attest to that.
The ghost pepper, just kidding, it's the Carolina Reaper. Duh, it's called Carolina Reaper hot sauce. And you can use offer code LTT to save 10% on all of their products.
That legitimately looks like a piece of bacon.
It is a piece of bacon. What do you think it was?
Oh. Well, what's it? Oh, bacon jerky.
It's bacon jerky.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. It's a good thing. All right, jumping into our next topic, or into our next sponsor, this is also a good thing. So EK has introduced the Phoenix. And if you had noticed that their previous modular water cooling system sort of went away, Phoenix, that name,
What does that mean?
kind of makes sense. Reborn, right? So this is their next generation improved AIO water cooling solution. It's designed around quick disconnect couplings, bringing a modular approach to connecting and expanding your loop. So it gives you the freedom to decide which components you want to cool down with water, and all the products not only come with the blocks and tubing all pre-assembled, they actually come pre-filled with water and really high quality quick disconnects. I believe these are from Colder. Yeah, I think that's what the company is called. Key special connector that allows for, yeah, they don't actually say on it, but I'm pretty sure when I looked into the best quick connects way back when I was doing like system development back at NCIX, I came across these. They're super expensive, but they're like, they lose like 0.1 or like 0.01 mils or something like that. Like when you take them apart, basically just the surfaces are damp to the touch and that's it.
Wow.
And the flow drop is, it's measurable, sure, it's significant, but it's not that bad compared to other designs.
That's really cool. It like bridges the gap between the super simple AIO to the more intense enthusiast ones. I like it.
So it's enthusiast performance, but with AIO simplicity. So they come pre-filled, so you can just clip them together, and the CPU cooling module and GPU cooling module can be connected to the radiator core module in any order separately or together. So you can check them out at EKWB.com or through the link in the video description. Whoops. Bringing us to our last sponsor. Wait, where did this thing go?
It's behind you.
It is?
Yes.
Oh.
And behind me as well.
Are you gonna do the demo? Like, is this set up?
I think the plan is to do a demo.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, is this spoiling the video? All right, no, fine, do it. Okay. So our third sponsor for today is SewellDirect. Their HD-Link HL24 HDMI over any two conductors product allows you to use whatever cable you've already got somewhere. Like, maybe you've already got wires running through a wall or whatever. You can use any two cables to send an HDMI signal. It's got up to a 2-mile range with a good conductor, and it can work on literally anything that is conductive. So James is about to demo it, we hope, in water. So we've got a laptop behind me. James is in the way of it, so it's kind of hard for you guys to see.
I think you just can't see it. It's way over there.
Oh, well, you can see the keyboard. There, you got a laptop. We've got a wire right here going into a tray of water. And then we've got...
Blinky green light.
Is this just on the wrong input?
It could be.
And then we've got James trying to do a live demo. Anytime you try and do a live demo, it doesn't work. It's like, it's got to be like some kind of law.
Colton, did you actually do this?
That's not Colton.
That was Taryn.
Well, that might be your problem. It wasn't even set to duplicate.
Oh. Well, now I changed it.
It should be HDMI.
Moving on.
Well, we've got a video coming where we did have it working.
It's receiving signal. The problem is the monitor.
That's weird. Why?
Let's see that. See that beautiful green blinky light?
Yeah, no, that's definitely working.
It's getting enough for sure. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, no, that's because I power cycled it.
Oh, I thought that
Yeah.
was showing.
No, I don't know. I don't know why it's not working. Is it trying to run at not 1080p or something? Like, I don't know what's going on here. All right. In the meantime, why don't I do another topic? Do you want to try and fix it, or? Oh, we've got the monitor we used yesterday right there. Cool. All right. Next up, this is apparently old news, but the Xbox One is getting FreeSync. The original article here is from Forbes. Let's go ahead and pull that up. And this is absolutely huge news from my perspective. I'm so thrilled about this because on the PC side of things, if you're not able to hit 60 frames per second, then okay, like that sucks, but worst case scenario, there is a solution. You can spend more money, I guess. And I know that's one of the criticisms of PC gaming is that it's kind of a sinkhole when it comes to how much you can end up spending on it. But at least there is a solution. With a console, if you want to play some kind of a console exclusive and it happens to have, hitches in the animations, or it happens to not run completely smoothly at 60 FPS, some games are coming out that do actually allow you to alter the detail levels, but not everything does. So this is great. The Xbox One S and the Xbox One X are both going to get FreeSync support. So on a supported display with HDMI 2.1, you'll be able to use FreeSync 2, which means that if you get a dip in your frame rate, the TV's refresh rate will actually drop to match it perfectly, which has a real-world, very significant benefit to the smoothness of the animations. Right now, James, when we recorded this initially, the first time, because we had to restart the show a couple of times due to audio issues, James brought up that right now there are no TVs on the market with support for the HDMI 2.1, but, from my perspective, you have to start somewhere, and, yeah, okay, so that is a bit of a drag. I'll give you that. But you got to start somewhere, and at least this gives us an opportunity to move towards that in the future. Especially trying to run, games at 4K on, nothing against the Xbox One X. Great console, got a really positive review here, but trying to run games at 4K on anything is demanding right now, and trying to run them on the Xbox One X is, particularly demanding. This has the potential to be a real game changer in terms of animation smoothness on consoles.
That actually leads kind of nicely into another topic we have here, which is that the NVIDIA G-Sync 4K 144Hz monitors that you may have seen at CES last year in 2017, which were subsequently delayed, are supposed to finally being released in April. But the question, why I think there was a good segue there, is what the heck? What card are you going to use to run something in 4K at 144 hertz?
Right now, the only at 144 hertz, nothing.
You're not going to get anything.
Yeah, it's
frame rate that high to use that.
It's kind of a funny product because it's kind of like the product for no one. So it's high frame rate or high refresh rate for esports titles, but then no one playing League of Legends is actually running at 4K. You just wouldn't do that. Why would you? I would rather, if I was a pro gamer, I'm not. If I was, I would rather have 240 hertz at 1080p. And from my understanding, a lot of pros don't actually prefer these gigantic large format displays because it actually makes it so that they can't see everything that they need to see at once.
It seems to me like it's just the first product that has this suite of features that they're all going to have eventually. They're just first.
Yeah, and then sort of the flip side of that is if you're more into the sightseeing games,
you don't need the refresh rate.
You don't need that refresh rate because you're not going to be running those kinds of games at more than 60 frames per second.
No.
With that said, though, we don't know how the upcoming GPUs, whether it be they Ampere or Volta or whatever NVIDIA ends up calling their GTX 2000 series, I guess, whatever they end up calling them. We don't know how powerful they're gonna be. So that might be. Even the maple buffalo bacon's got a little bit of spice, and it kind of went down my windpipe there. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm not gonna die on land show.
I don't know if you know anything about why these monitors were delayed, but could it have been to do with the HDMI 2.1 spec? Like, is this thing gonna use 2 cables or one?
No, these are DisplayPort. So as far as I know, and this is just based on rumors that I read on the internet, as far as I know, it has to do with delays to NVIDIA's latest G-Sync module.
Okay. You know what? I think a giveaway was 144 hertz. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think even HDMI 2.1 is maxed out at 120.
That might be right.
Fact check that.
I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Everyone's like, rip LTT in the chat. No, I'm still alive. I'm okay. Oh, man. All right. In the meantime, why don't we go on to your big topic here?
Well,
so this happened. This was posted by Delicious on the forum. The original article here is from RT.com. The first pedestrian death has been has not just happened, but has been recorded from a self-driving car.
well, naturally, the thing partially driving because of the cameras. This is really sad. So 49-year-old Elaine Herzberg was struck by a self-driving Uber last Sunday night at 10 p.m. It was dark out. She was crossing the street with her bike in Tempe, Arizona. Naturally, a lot of these self-driving car testing projects are in Arizona. They made some attractive terms to attract companies, and they have pretty nice weather. It's kind of easier. The car was going 40 miles an hour, which is 65 kilometers, and this is an SUV. It's a Volvo XC90 SUV. So there was a backup safety net kind of driver, a human driver in the vehicle. And when the story broke, we didn't have the footage of what the camera saw, the dash cam footage, as it were. So we didn't know, why didn't the backup driver react? Why didn't the human driver hit the brakes? How was it possible that this woman was struck? The original details were just like irrelevant things like it was dark out and she wasn't at a crosswalk.
Yeah.
Neither of those have any impact on whether or not the car should stop.
So Velodyne LiDAR said it won't be advising its customers to halt tests in the wake of this death because they don't believe the accident was due to the LiDAR, which often it works even better at night due to less interference.
There's less noise. They think it's possible, they don't design the software, Uber does, so it's possible that it's how the data was handled in the software end. It's still unknown why the car didn't stop. When the dash cam footage was released, it became clear that there was, if the dash cam footage looks like what it really looked like that night, there's no way a human could have reacted. She basically is not there and then there. Like she is crossing the street like in a shadow or something like that. And even though the driver, there's interior car footage and you can see that the driver is looking down and not paying attention. Even if they were paying attention, there's nothing they could do. And a lot of the media was focusing on the driver and how this person has like a previous criminal record and whether or not Uber's like policies like should have hired them. It's completely irrelevant. What we were wondering now is like obviously this is a big setback for the self-driving car community and industry and what's going to happen in California. California was about to initiate programs like this there, so it might take a little longer.
So Uber has halted tests in San Francisco, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, and Toronto. Man, like, so here's the thing. On the one hand, you're going to have the, I forget the terms for them, but you're going to have the pragmatists that are going to go, well, you know, what's one human life in the grand scheme of how many can be saved in an autonomous future? But on the other hand, thank you. But on the other hand, if this was like my kid, like there's no amount of like other people getting to survive in the future does anything to make this any better for me. And from my perspective, like I'm reading an article like this, and this is as someone who really wants to see self-driving cars succeed and wants to buy one as soon as humanly possible. I'm glad they're not allowing testing here in my neighborhood. as soon as I read this, I go, well, I'm glad someone else is the guinea pig. And maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, but...
Well, this is exactly why I said her name and age in the story here, because when I posted this on my Twitter when it first broke, it was like I expected a lot more varied comments than I got. The only comments were like, in the future it'll be good. But this is like a real person. So needless to say, the tests that occur without a driver present in the car, which are, I believe, legally allowed in Arizona, but we're on the cusp of being allowed in California, are going to be delayed.
Man, that's rough. In other news, what else do we got? Oh, Congress passes SESTA/FOSTA, which sounds like kind of like a hip bill. It's like FOSTA bill, it's like pretty FOSTA-y, man.
Yeah, FOSTA.
Actually, we should start using it as like a cuss word. Yo, that's pretty FOSTA.
It's on.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down. Yeah, I'm down.
I think FOSTA should mean good, and Jibo means bad.
Like, oh, that is some FOSTA. No, you think it's good?
FOSTA.
No. SESTA, yeah, I could see SESTA.
SESTA.
Like, that's SESTA.
You're just saying it like zesty.
Yeah, but it's SESTA, SESTA.
Okay.
Yeah. No, come on, man.
This is a bill that ostensibly curbs online sex trafficking. But there are some critics that say it's going to increase online censorship, stifle innovation, and make everyone less safe online. So Congress passed it. They're just waiting for President Trump's signature for it to become a law.
I can't imagine him not signing anything that he can list in like his accomplishments. Like I actually think he would sign anything. Mind you, with that said, I think the news that I looked at most recently said that he might not sign the bill that funds the government for the next year or whatever, the omnibus bill or whatever they're calling it.
Right.
Anyway, whole other conversation. So here's the issue that okay. So on the one hand, if we're actually preventing human trafficking by creating what is in effect sort of a responsibility on these websites for the content that is being posted by third parties, if we are actually helping people by doing that, that's a good thing. The problem is that what this creates is a burden on website owners and operators to be responsible for everything that is posted on their sites. Not just everything that is present on their sites on an ongoing basis, but everything that is posted on their sites. And as someone who hosts a user-submitted content forum, I can tell you right now, it is basically freaking impossible to police every single thing that someone might post on a website. Craigslist has already removed its personal section for fear of a SESTA transgression that would affect the entire site.
Which demonstrates right there that the community is interpreting this as too heavy of a touch to want to risk.
To even want to like have a chance of running afoul of. And
that's a big part of their website. The personals ad is not a trivial part of Craigslist.
Really? Tell me more.
Oh, there's that's how we met.
No, I don't think we posted our job posting on Craigslist. And it certainly wasn't in personals.
Job posting.
Oh, boy. And then, so the argument, though, is that, well, if you have a site, you should be responsible for what's on it. And so, companies like Facebook or Twitter, for example, might be able to build, AI or algorithmic protection mechanisms to keep offensive content from being posted. But one of the arguments against SESTA that says it could stifle innovation is that small companies, like, say, for example, Floatplane Media Inc., might not.
Wait, what's that?
Might not have access to expert lawyers and the same kinds of monitoring algorithms that a large company would, and might just run the risk of having to say, you know what, look, we can't afford to get buried in legal fees because we're like, enabling online sex trafficking because like something went up on our site and we didn't see it for 20 minutes. And they might just shut down, which could hurt the ability of the next Facebook competitor to spring up out of nowhere, which, I mean, you know, I don't think anyone sees anything on the horizon like that, but putting more barriers in place is not the solution. And I can tell you right now, like, it's already challenging. So Flowplane had a heck of a time getting credit card payments approved. First, the payment processor, and this is all because of their underwriting bank that was requesting all this crap, and I'm kind of sitting here going, what do you guys care? Anyway.
Blockchain.
So their payment processor wanted to see a finished site before they would give us access to the actual API hooks to integrate into the site.
Bit of a chicken and egg thing, isn't it?
Bit of a chicken and egg thing. Like, what are you going to develop a whole site and then have a payment processor go and say, you know, that blue, that's a little too blue. You know what, we're going to pass. We're just going to pass. So they wanted that. Then we had to get on this conference call with them where we had to explain a couple of things. Number one is how we were going to, how we were going to monitor user-posted content. And we're kind of sitting here going, well, like, it's us, like our sister company and like our friend Kyle that are uploading to it right now. Like, I don't think this is going to be an issue.
But that count, like, comments are under that umbrella, are they not?
Yes, but comments are a little bit easier to moderate because you can, but again though, it comes down to imposing on websites the restriction that you'll just have to kind of narrow down. Like you'll have to effectively make the comments a little less open and a little less free, because we could crack down on people being able to post GIFs, for example, or we could crack down on people being able to post links. Those are pretty easy ways to keep sex traffic
and a spam filter for certain diction.
Yeah, but that will make in effect our comments more censored than we otherwise might have preferred to have them. So anyway, the other thing they wanted to know is what our plan was to keep adult content off the site. And we're kind of sitting here going, look, I'm not going to name any names because it has really been that kind of week.
My week's been fine.
Great, good. So I just don't want to get into it, but we're kind of going, okay, there's nothing in your terms of service that says anything about adult content, for one thing, to which their response was, well, we can't keep our terms of service updated at all times. And I kind of go, what are you talking about? They're like, well, that's why we have us to explain the internal terms of service to people. And I'm like, so you have internal terms of service and external terms of service. Here's an idea. Yeah. Why don't you just have one terms of service?
Well, what else is on that internal terms of service?
Great question. What a tremendous question. So glad you asked.
What a great audience.
Yeah. And so we went, one, okay, you don't have that in your terms of service. And two, we know for a fact that there's at least one major site that does offer adult content that uses you as a payment processor and has for years.
Maybe that's why.
What is the deal? And anyway, after the whole interview process, we did manage to get approved. We're getting the code integrated. Naturally, the Sandbox APIs totally doesn't jive with the actual one, so it wasn't just plug and play like it's supposed to be. But that's why Luke's not here. He's working on that right now. But we're hoping to have credit card processing working pretty soon. But anyway, coming back to SESTA, FOSTA, the issue here is that putting more barriers in the way of small online companies has a real impact. Like every week that we spend dicking around with some kind of regulatory thing is another week that we can't be developing products and services that make creators and their viewers happy. And it's very frustrating. With that said, the human trafficking is a travesty and a living nightmare for the people that are involved in it. Well, on the one end of it, not the other end, I don't think. I think they probably sleep fine at night, somehow. And, you want to see something done about it, but it just doesn't really seem like this is it.
Here's another non-answer. or a non-way to go. This is kind of related. Have you seen this? This is state legislation pending in Rhode Island, which would force internet service providers to block sexual content by default until the internet user does the following. Requests in writing that the capability be disabled. Presents identification to verify that that particular user is 18 years old or older. Acknowledges receiving, like you've got to wait for something to mail, receive a written warning regarding the potential danger of deactivating the digital blocking capability of this sexual content, and pays $20 as a digital access fee.
I don't know about you, but if I really wanted to look at porn on the internet, A, I wouldn't pay $20 for it, and B, I could not wait that long. And yes, we did talk about this last week.
What? All right, well, it still sucks. Especially since...
For anyone in Rhode Island. All right. So this was posted by SC2 Mitch on the forum. Elon Musk has gotten involved in hashtag delete Facebook. No way. So the original article here is from The Guardian. Hit us with the facts on this one.
Well, this is
James.
This is the deep context source. This is like, if you don't know why Facebook's in trouble to begin with, we're going here. So what happened was, Facebook sees itself as a platform instead of just an ad company, so they don't care about giving away tons of personal data, which would be very valuable to an ad company like Google. They don't mind giving that away to developers who are going to develop Facebook apps because they want to be a platform like Microsoft. So what they did starting around 2010 was, if you were building an app for Facebook, you could get access to a ton of profile data, and not just data from the people who use these apps, but data from their friends. So what happened was, a psychologist professor at Cambridge made an app, paid a couple 100,000 people to take a survey, which is what the app was for, thereby getting access to all those users' data on Facebook and all their friends, which amounted to about 50 million different profiles worth of personal data. That data then was against Facebook terms of service given to Cambridge Analytica, a company. It's against the terms of service because once you get this data, you're not allowed to use it for any advertising purpose, which is what Cambridge Analytica ended up doing. They use it to make highly targeted ads to target these people in a very specific way. All these 50 million people, they served 10,000 different nuanced ads to kind of sway the American election.
Well, attempt to.
Attempt to sway it?
We can't prove it worked.
We don't know.
We're not experts.
So now this has all come to light. Facebook's in trouble. A famous hashtag delete Facebook has been started by one of the people who benefited tremendously from Facebook, the founder, one of the co-founders of WhatsApp, Brian Acton. He started delete Facebook hashtag. And then Elon Musk got called out about the delete Facebook hashtag, and he said, "Oh, that exists? Okay, let's just take down our SpaceX and Tesla Facebook pages," which they've done. And we don't know if Musk is trolling because he kind of does that, or if he believes in the cause, or what.
In other news, we got wrecked by Gamers Nexus. What the heck?
What you talking about?
Look at this. We were number 5. Zerv, Gunslinger, and Gamers Nexus all knocked us off of the leaderboard for the NVIDIA Titan V.
What leaderboard is this?
This is 3D Mark Time Spy Extreme.
Oh.
That rat bastard. Well, no promises that we'll take another crack at it, but I don't like seeing that Canadian flag all the way down there. That's no fun.
That's weak.
Sorry, just everyone's
top 7, baby.
Yeah, top 7.
GSP.
Oh.
So no comments on the Facebook thing,
rough.
eh? That was quite a segue you just handed me.
No, I don't really have anything to say on that one. Apparently the audio is a mess again. I don't even know what to tell people.
You want to talk about ray tracing?
No. I don't know. What else is there? You know what? I'm done. I've had enough of this week. So, goodbye. Forever. Until next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Goodbye.